Welcome back to Channel Favorites. Bob, who everybody loves to hate, and Kitty Cam. Kitty Cat Peterson is back on the Kitty Cam. It's been a really long time since we've had Kitty Cam. Speaking of being around family members who you can't stand, Thanksgiving is coming up. Now, if your parents or that one weird uncle are the type of person that says the most brain-dead, idiotic stuff you can imagine, well, check out my book, Rational Answers to Stupid Questions, so you can be armed to handle all of the misinformation that will certainly be coming your way this holiday season. I also debunk hundreds of other misinformation claims in my second book, Facts That Aren't True. Link in the description. So Bob and Mary Lou, adamant to prove that they are not in a cult, have dressed up like Donald Trump and Melania Trump for Halloween. If you don't know about Bob, they post a lot of clips of their conversations with Bob to like Instagram and TikTok, so you can get the quick snippets that really show you the psychology and psychopathy and the just complete empty-headedness of Bob. They get flooded with comments telling them to have Bob draw a clock, which apparently is a test for Alzheimer's because he really seems like he's not all there at all. Apparently, I don't know if they ever did it in the show, but I have seen them reply, "We've had him do this before and he can perfectly draw a clock." So his mind is gone for other reasons. And to show you perhaps the perfect demonstration of the way Bob is and how Bob got to be the way Bob is, listen to this.
The whole idea of the book club is that everyone in the book club reads a book and then you all discuss the ideas in that book.
Yeah, it won't be me.
He doesn't like to read.
Oh my God.
I don't need that.
Shocker.
The way I haven't watched one of their videos in a long time. I watched just a couple minutes of this, but from what I see, the way Haley and Chad just roast them in this video, like I got the impression that before they would try to not really attack their parents' character, lack of class, their ignorance. But in this episode, from what I've seen, they really just go after me to say to your own parents, "Wow, yeah, shocker," when they tell you they don't read. I mean, it's like the whole reason they do this is because, like, look, we love you guys and we disagree on so much, but we're trying to, like, the name of the channel is The Necessary Conversation. And, you know, it's like trying to, look, no matter what, family sticks together. Ohana means family. But they just seem to be like expressing contempt for them at this point. So I'm not really sure.
Yeah, and do you think that this is revealing of some kind of underlying problem with MAGA?
No.
That was your text to me. That was really.
I hated reading when I was fucking 4.
Yeah, I didn't read very well either when I was in 2nd grade. I was the last one on the choo-choo train. Everybody else had this choo-choo train. They had so many books. I was at the very end.
So
I don't know why we weren't good readers.
Talking about a background.
I've talked about this openly before, but I actually hated reading when I was a kid. I hated reading the stuff that they made us read, you know, for school. Like in 5th grade, you had to read a book and do a report on it, and you can pick whatever book you wanted. And I don't know, I hated that. I had books as a kid, and if they were like nature books, animal books, science books, or whatever, I devoured those. But man, I really hated reading in school. And even even through middle school and high school, I don't know if I read hardly any of the required stuff. I just piggybacked on the conversations we would have in class about the books. And that's how I would learn enough to be able to pass the tests. Really pathetic. And then when I became an adult, I mean, I have a pretty big library now. It's a couple hundred books. And now I read a lot, and I don't know, it's just, I got to the point where now I had the freedom and time to choose to read whatever I wanted, and yeah, so it's kind of neat to see Mary Lou be like, I don't know why, I just didn't like it, whereas Bob is just like, yeah, fuck reading, reading's for communists.
Of bad education, refusal to educate yourselves, and even now contemporarily, as your children are asking you to read a book with them, you refuse, and you don't see how that aligns with It's easier to trick you. You'll believe misinformation.
We're
You
not
don't quite
refusing.
understand all the facts.
We
What's
ain't
that?
been tricked into nothing.
We're not refusing.
You are
That
the ones.
is
You lefties are the ones that are being tricked
with all
No, you.
the reading that we're doing.
into being communists.
Okay. Let's move on to our first topic.
You're falling for it, hook, line, and sinker.
All right. Our first topic
I had to speed them up. Bob talks so incredibly slowly.
is starving Americans.
Go ahead.
You with us?
America's not starving.
This week saw a significant consequence of the Republican-controlled
All
government
those
shutdown.
people bitching about no food are twice as fat as I am.
I don't know about that. This week saw a
I do.
significant consequence of the Republican-controlled government shutdown in the end of a SNAP.
I love how after he said that, she fixes his shirt to hide his man boobs a little more.
Benefit funding. Approximately 42 million Americans, roughly 1 in 8, depend on SNAP each month to avoid food insecurity. The USDA has a contingency fund for SNAP of about $5 billion, which could fund the program for a few more weeks. Mike Johnson and the Republicans claim these funds have not been appropriated for SNAP and therefore cannot be used. But states argue that the USDA is required by law to use those funds to prevent hunger regardless of the nature of the shutdown. Nearly half of SNAP receiving households have children under 18. Mom, who do you think receives SNAP benefits? Who are these people?
Where their income is a certain level.
Uh-huh.
And
Dad?
people with no job and no jobs. Some have jobs, some don't.
Okay.
But it's the income level that you have.
90% of the people who receive SNAP are twice as fat as I am.
Okay.
Yeah, just say the exact same thing, but he's gonna do that about 10 times. Say the exact same thing more than once.
You've said that already.
Yeah, it'll do them some damn good to go 2 or 3 weeks with nothing.
Oh my God.
Have you ever gone 2 weeks without eating?
Oh, hell yes.
When?
High school, all the time.
You would
No, you didn't.
go with 2 weeks without eating food?
Yes.
No, you didn't.
Had to
I
weigh
don't believe this.
119 pounds.
Okay.
For athletics.
Oh, to cut weight for wrestling? Is that what he's gonna
You wouldn't go
say?
2 weeks without eating. You would cut
Yeah.
weight for a wrestling tournament maybe 5 days before you start tapering it down.
No,
Oh, no, buddy.
he
I
did.
was a 150-pound individual. I had to cut it off.
Of whoop ass.
Okay, but you're doing it by
Okay,
choice
here,
in this
don't-
scenario.
I had to go from 150. I had to go from 150 to 119.
You know.
So he absolutely did not eat for 2 weeks. But Chad's making the important point that you chose to do that.
We do not like people starving. You know this. And it's sad that this has happened.
We
Dad
don't
just
know
said-
that.
Yeah, Dad. Hang on, Mom. Hang on. Dad literally just said it will do them some good to starve.
Also, you have you give zero shits about all of the people starving in Gaza. In fact, you cheer that on.
They can
So it's
stand
not
to
true.
lose one of those goddamn 20-pound butt cheeks.
Do children
Yes.
stand to lose 20 pounds? Do elderly stand to
Yeah.
lose 20 pounds?
Hey,
Other than you, Dad.
half of them could, yeah.
It's odd that something Bob is saying requires a nuanced reply, but there is an actual phenomena that you can be severely malnourished and overweight, and that's because the cheapest foods are extremely calorie dense, but they're just carbohydrates, so they're not nutrient dense. And yeah, a lot of people are at the same time overweight and malnourished. And there is, I mean, this is where you could try to, reach across the aisle to somebody on the right and talk about the fact that, like, hey, like the FDA or whatever decides what qualifies for SNAP, and they're just in bed with the big agricultural companies, and so it's like, hey, grow all this corn and other grains to create junk food, and that's how we're basically subsidizing you through welfare to grow all these crops that really aren't all that great, but it creates all this junk food that people can buy on SNAP. So it's sort of like it's a little bit like, plugging the power strip into itself. I mean, you could totally, right wingers, they claim to care about the swamp and corruption. You could talk about that. You could make a Maha argument for that and then ask, okay, what are any of you proposing we do about it other than just having people not be able to eat? Because that is their only, as Bob said, the solution is let them starve, it'll do them some good.
People I've seen on Snap are fat as shit.
Okay.
He is
So
just seeing the propaganda that's out there that's being, posted all over. But did you not get that one clip?
What is he looking at?
sent you, I wanted to show.
I did.
This
We can
lady
play it.
said, you know, don't.
I'll play the clip. I'll play the clip.
Okay,
But I
play
want to
the
ask you a
clip.
couple more
Play the
questions
clip.
first. I want to ask you a couple more questions first. One, does the government have an obligation to feed Americans?
No.
Yes.
That's what the clip says. When you rely 100% on our government to feed you, you're
Nobody's relying 100%. You realize
No, nobody relies 100% on nobody. The only people that rely 100% on the government to feed them are people in prison, and some kids in school. It's not very many, but there are some kids in some schools where like literally the only time they eat is when they go to school. It's a really small number, but it does happen. But no, nobody's life is 100% subsidized by the government, except people in prison. And Elon Musk, because his entire net worth is all in contracts and subsidies.
realize that most people on Snap have fucking jobs, right? It's just that
No.
Not all
corporate
of
doesn't
them.
keep up.
That's
the
a-
minimum wage. The minimum
That's a
wage.
lefty
Never
misnomer.
The minimum
They're
wage
just
for
so
Ireland is still
hopeless.
$7.25. $7.25.
Yeah, not some of.
Yeah, there isn't a single state in the entire country where you can afford the average apartment on minimum wage. There isn't a single one. You have to work more than, well, sorry, I should have qualified that. There isn't a single state in the country where you can afford the average apartment working full time on minimum wage. So, yeah, we have this problem in this country where the social contract is supposed to be if you work full time, you do all that you should be obligated to do, because people have to do something are supposed to do things other than work. Like raise a family. That's a big, have families and be able to raise them and be invested in them and spend time with them. Oh, what about being a trad family where only one person, probably the husband, works and the mom stays at home, right? That's the conservative idea, right? It doesn't work anywhere. Nowhere in this country can you do that. So the Republican ideal dream, it doesn't exist. It can't exist anywhere in this country. And so, yes, unfortunately, we have welfare because the American dream doesn't exist. And all conservatives do is just blame the people that work but can't achieve the American dream because it's impossible and literally unaffordable.
Some of them do. Some have 2 jobs. Some have 3 jobs, and they're on Snap.
That's
I totally
the absurdity
understand that.
of this fucking country. Is
Here,
that you can work
I've
a
got-
full-time job and you still
You got
need
the
fucking
clip?
SNAP
Oh,
benefits.
bullshit.
Okay, you
I've got the
clip?
stat. I've got the stat. Nearly
That's fucking bullshit. You fucking, my own fucking liberal communist fucking daughter who's just as fat as I am. I bet your mother was having an affair, 'cause there ain't no goddamn fucking way that some liberal fucking communist dumbass could have come out of my nutsack. Your mom was banging the communist milkman. I fucking guarantee it.
60% of SNAP households have at least one working person.
That's
Okay.
fucking insane.
That's over half.
All right.
You agree
But
with
when
this?
you rely on our government 100% to feed your family, you're in trouble.
It's not 100%. That's what you're not understanding. This is a
No, that's
supplemental.
what you're not understanding.
I have
There
one
are
more.
people out there who
Yeah, Bob. Literally just said, this started out with them saying, the majority of people that get SNAP have no jobs. The fact is, the majority have at least one job. And then Bob says, that's what you're not understanding.
depend on the government 100 fucking percent.
Kitty cat, why did it say that? Kitty, why did it say that? I'm going to stop saying chat, what is it doing? And I'm just going to start saying kitty cat, what is it doing?
Okay, so you do not
And
care,
that is
Dad.
a
They're
fact,
yelling
chat.
in my ear.
So, Dad, you don't care that people are starving because of this,
No.
starting this weekend.
Some of them need to.
That's
Okay.
rude. I don't agree.
Okay,
with
well, I do care. And if anybody's listening and you live in my area, we are collecting non-perishables through November 9th for It's an organization that reached out to me called Pa Caso. They like do shit with dogs and animals. Anyway, bring your canned goods, bring your non-perishables to Hive Bakery through November 9th.
The important thing is what Haley is talking about is in accordance with the scriptures. More of a Christian than these two are. And if you remember from I've only done one video on these psychopaths, but Bob invokes that we're in a holy war against the Democrats. So they also accost their own children about being atheists, and they say they're not. They're agnostic, but they're not full-blown atheists.
We're going to take it to North Texas Food Bank.
You know what? Just wait till Tuesday, because those 6 Democrats better get voting the correct way.
They better turn
and
right.
Save our government. Our government needs.
Why did they need to get it right when you just advocated for people not eating because it would be good for them? I don't understand. The hilarious thing about the shutdown, if I had the opportunity to ask Donald Trump, this would be the most perfect thing ever, because Donald Trump he has such a fragile ego, and this would just be the greatest. I would say to him, why is it that you are completely powerless to stop the shutdown? And that would piss him off so much. Like, well, I could shut it. Oh, well, okay, then approve the healthcare, so extend the healthcare subsidies. No, I'm not doing that. It's like, oh, how is it that the Democrats are in complete control? How is it that they have total control over the government? And even though you have a super majority, a mega super majority, because they have a Supreme Court majority too, how is it that you are utterly powerless? Why is it that the Democrats hold all the power? That would be the ultimate troll job, and that would hurt his ego so much. He probably would go to the negotiating table if you put it to him that way. He either has to admit that he is completely powerless, which he won't do, or he'll have to admit, yeah, I could stop it at any time, but I absolutely will not allow Congress to extend these subsidies. And my kitty has left my lap, and I will never emotionally recover from this.
Needs to get back to running.
What they're trying to do.
Go ahead.
What they're trying to do is turn this country into a democracy, i.e., communism.
Hang on a minute.
What? What the fuck does that mean? What the fuck? That's actually funny because I got inspired to do this again because of several days ago I saw a clip on TikTok pop up of these two, and Bob was saying something to the effect of, we need to kill democracy, we need to end it because it's bad. But it became very clear as he was talking that what he meant was Democrats. And so people were saying, Bob doesn't know the difference between a democracy and the Democratic Party. And then the have him draw a clock thing came up once again.
Hang on a minute. Dad, you're always against democracy, yet you said you're going to vote in the next election. You understand democracy allows your vote.
No, it's
Okay.
a Republican.
Okay.
The Republic allows me to vote. Democracy is imprisoning me.
Okay.
What does that mean? I'm just going to put this here for a little bit. All right, moving on.
You look like you're imprisoned.
Let's just hope after Tuesday.
Yeah, I am. Look
the
at me
6
now.
Democrats vote along with our Republicans, and we get this government back rolling again.
All right.
It's pretty close to prison.
Before we play your minute and a half on Clip Mom, I want to ask you one more question. Do you think Donald Trump cares about people starving?
Yes, he does.
Did he look
And
like
he
he
could
cared at
really-
his Halloween party?
How about that Great Gatsby fucking party that he just threw?
Yeah,
Did you see
great.
pictures and images from that?
How could a party? What's that have to do with our government opening back up? That
The
party
government is
never
shut down.
comes.
People are not getting paid. People are not
Right.
getting food.
Right.
The
And
people
whose
who are not.
fault is that?
6 Democrats that need to vote the
Yeah.
right effing way.
Okay.
6 lefties that need to.
Extending healthcare subsidies would be the right way. I mean, the ACA is just a completely fucked system. We need to replace it with something. But in the interim, absolutely extending the subsidies would be the right thing to do.
turn right.
The lefties like this. They like that our government, that this is happening to the United States, because then they can blame it on Trump.
But you don't see
I mean, that's true.
just the images of him at that party smiling, and it's the gilded age. There's people dressed like flappers. I mean, the whole idea of Great Gatsby was that in that era, there were these people who lived at the top of the fucking world who were so much richer than everybody else, unaffected by all the kind of financial turmoil that the average person was experiencing. That's the theme of his party, while literally people are having food taken off their tables by the government.
My theme is those 6 Democrats better get their ass and vote the right way so our government gets open.
What you're doing right now is a complete deflection of the question.
And it's just, you could just say, okay, let's say that they do vote. Let's say the 6 Democrats do vote, and then this passes. Well, the health care becomes so unaffordable that people are either going to choose eating or health care, and they're probably going to choose eating, right? I mean, like, literally all that would do is just take the problem and put it somewhere else. It's kind of like a weird transition, but what I find incredibly unhelpful and unproductive about conversations around gun control or whatever, gun death prevention, is, they'll say something like, well, we just need to put an armed security guard in every school, have an SRO in every school. And it's like, okay, but if I want to shoot up a place and the school has police officers in it, then I'll just go somewhere else. So it doesn't solve anything. It just puts the problem somewhere else. So
What is he supposed to do? What is he supposed to do?
Not have a fucking party where it looks like he doesn't give a shit about anyone but him and all of his rich friends.
You going?
I got it.
Okay.
And I ain't coming.
You know what's weird? I didn't see this party. Why do I never see your stuff that you're talking about?
Because you're watching Newsmax and they don't want to show.
Yeah, no kidding. Why don't I ever... Oh, man. Funny enough, I have... Oh, jeez. I have Hulu TV. That's the only form of television that I have. And this actually came up in a video I released fairly recently. There used to be a NASA TV channel on Hulu TV, and I tried to find it when I was debating a flat earther, because they do live streams from the ISS there, and I was trying to find, but it wasn't there anymore. So they got rid of that, and Hulu TV now has both One American News Network and Newsmax on it, and they didn't used to have either of those. So that's fucking great.
Show you anything to break your idea that Donald Trump is Jesus Christ.
Right. So he's throwing parties. Meanwhile, AOC is delivering literal fucking food in trucks, like trucks full of food in New York City.
And Schumer are the reason this government is shut down, Haley.
They're two of the most ignorant people on.
I thought he was
AOC and Schumer are the reason this government has shut down, and they don't give a crap.
Okay.
Let me play your
AOC's not in the Senate, so that's completely false.
clip now, Mom. Here's this clip. This is, to my I didn't watch this. I just saw the thumbnail. This is just some random lady talking about it, but here we go.
Out here screaming like, oh my God, SNAP is ending and kids are going to go hungry. But the truth is, every single one of you has misguided anger. This is going to be a controversial take. So before you come into my comments and rage, just know that I was a food stamp kid and we faced some really shady times in those early years. But my mother would have sold her soul to make sure that we had food to eat. If you're in a position where the government can completely remove your ability to provide food for you.
I don't know how old this lady is. She doesn't look all that old. I'm not that old. I'm 34, right? If you bought a house in early 1990 or in the early 90s, in the early 2000s, your mortgage was probably $900 to $1,200 a month. Okay, my mortgage is $3,012 a month. And have wages kept up with that inflation? No, not at all. So shut the fuck up about, oh, your mom could have fed multiple kids and owned a house with a secretary job. Okay, so shut the fuck up.
For yourself, you're too reliant on the government. That is nobody's fault but your own. The second book of Thessalonians tells us that if you don't...
Nope. I'm not even going to watch this.
You rely 100% on your government to give you food, then you're in trouble because they can also take it away. And that is what is happening now when the Democrats
don't
and
do
the
that.
Republicans won't get together to open our government. We have a huge problem.
I agree.
Yeah, the Republicans won't get together with the Democrats to open the government. Like, it's like, what are you talking about?
Agree. But that's the government. Who started SNAP? FDR? Food stamps?
I have no idea. I can't Google because if I look down, you'll tell me I'm not looking at things. Remembering, you'll be mad at me.
Yeah.
My kids criticized me.
It's been a while back, I'm sure. But it was also started as a bridge to stay on it a short time, move on. There are families that have been on it for 14 years, and I saw this clip. You're not taking away my 14 years.
Wages don't keep up with inflation. Federal minimum wage hasn't changed in like 30 years.
That's not the fault of those families. That's the fault of how our system is set up, where people can have a 40-hour-a-week job, and that still doesn't pay them enough money to buy food for their family.
But you also don't believe in systemic racism.
Not helpful.
I mean, do you acknowledge that the financial structure now is way worse than it was in the mid-1970s, which is the time you're talking about?
Yes, because all we've done, I think we have given. Everybody's used to it. They want it. They would rather stay at home than have to get out and get a job. And like, even if it's level,
the state of
income,
Texas, even
if they would have to pay childcare with their job that didn't pay much, instead of going out there and getting the job and feeling good about themselves, they would rather stay at home and collect the check.
This talking point is completely, I'm going to just sound like a broken record, but this talking point is completely irrelevant because wages haven't kept up with inflation. Childcare is like $20,000 a year. Who the hell can afford that? So this idea of it doesn't even make any sense. People are sitting at home not working, and that's why they can't afford childcare. They wouldn't be able to afford it if they were working.
Comes in.
You live in like your own world. Like in the state of Texas alone, just our government in Texas, the fucking minimum wage, I don't even know how many years it's been since it has been raised, but it's still $7.25 a fucking hour. If you do that math, literally no one can fucking live on that. So let's say that you didn't get a college education because you couldn't fucking afford it. So now you have to work at like McDonald's full time. You're never making enough money to pay your fucking bills, buy your fucking food, and take care of your kids. That's not their fault. If you're working a full-time job, you should be able to afford fucking necessities.
Right. So 725 times 40 times 4, it would be a little more than this because there aren't 28 days every month. But that's $1,160 a month. That's it. Now, a very, very small percentage of people actually make minimum wage. So it says only about 1.1% of people who are working. But let's say you make 3 times what the minimum wage is. That's $3,480 a month, which is nothing. This will be fun. Let's just look at apartments. So as far as I know, South Dakota still has the lowest average real estate in the entire country. So what can you, and Watertown, that's a town that I used to actually live in this town. This is the cheapest apartment / house that you can get there. And it is $1,135 a month. Well, it ranges from that to $1,800 a month. But yeah, these are, the 1335 or the 1135, that's a 1-bedroom, 660 square foot apartment. Now, you're not going to get an entry-level job for over $20 an hour in Watertown, South Dakota, I can tell you that. But if you're making $15 an hour, you're making about $2,300 a month, and that's before taxes. South Dakota doesn't have any income tax. The lowest tax bracket, they're still taking 10% federally, but that's under $10,000 a year. So this is going to be higher than that. And it's like, look, you could, in theory, afford to live there, but what's the average car payment and car insurance? Car insurance has gotten absolutely astronomical. If you find a used car for about $20,000, you're going to be looking at something like probably $300 a month for a monthly payment. That's actually, when I lived in South Dakota, I did buy a Ford Escape for exactly $20,000. And yeah, my monthly payment was $312 a month on it, I believe. So $2,320 minus $1,135 minus $312 or whatever I said, you have $873 left. But it's actually less than that because of federal income tax and Social Security and what else. So let's say you're actually going to have 75% of that, so $654. You have to have a cell phone and internet to be able to do literally anything. You can't have a job unless you also have those things, because your job is going to put your schedule online. You're going to have to be able to answer emails for all kinds of things, for any kind of service you're going to get, for your car, for your bills, for whatever. You have to have a cell phone and internet. That's going to be another $200, let's say, those two things combined. We're at $450. What can you do with $450 other than feed just yourself, right? And so even if we find a case in the cheapest state in the country where you can theoretically live off of that, again, isn't the America that aren't we supposed to be raising the fertility rate? Aren't we supposed to be raising kids and all that other kind of stuff? You can't, and now I'm doing this based off of single income, but you can't live in this apartment and raise a family. So double your income, you're going to have to move into a new place, and the rent is going to scale up and be virtually double. So you're pretty much in the same boat.
You're missing the point, Mom. You're missing the entire point. You are. You're focusing the blame for the current financial disaster that this country is in on the people at the bottom of the heap. The blame goes to the top. It's because we have these CEOs of these giant, like if you work in an Amazon factory, you're not making enough money to pay for your rent, your food, for your life, basically. I read a big article about this for Walmart. People who work in Walmart are almost all on Snap. Walmart is also the company in this country that makes the most money from Snap. So people come in there, they can...
Yeah, that's actually brilliant. It's a brilliant point. It's the point itself is absolutely horrendous, but yeah. I saw earlier today. It was just a little snippet. Maybe it's not 100% true, but it said Jeff Bezos got like $60 million or $1 billion from the government in tax breaks or whatever. Meanwhile, they don't pay any of their workers a wage that allows them to live without having to take some form of welfare. Now, the title of this video is JD Vance having an affair with Erica Kirk. So, okay, this must be where it starts. So I don't know where this is gonna go, but and I haven't I saw the picture of them hugging, and so but other than that, I don't know what's going on with this, but.
Erica Kirk in the next few years to make himself a more viable presidential candidate in 2028. I have this clip that I'm going to play for you now.
I am tremendously blessed and honored tonight to be able to introduce to you a very, very dear friend and his wife.
Did you guys see that?
Introduce to you.
This is her face. This is her face when she's thinking about and talking about JD.
A very, very dear friend.
So she's basically giving her O face when thinking and talking about JD.
And his wife.
And then the tragedy of bringing up that he has a wife.
God. They are incredible. And I see no one will ever replace my husband. No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD.
The fuck?
And Vice President JD Vance. I do. And that's why I'm so blessed to be able to introduce him tonight because he understands the fight that we're up against. And he can articulate that in a way that transcends race.
Bruh.
I feel like I'm almost watching a sex tape between the two of them. Holy crap.
You had to slow this way down.
No.
So please help me welcome to the stage Vice President J.D. Vance.
I had no idea it was that bad. Oh, the false Christian God. That is so bad. They start talking about conspiracies with the assassination after that. And sorry, but I'm too cowardly to put that up here because of what this government is willing to do to people that do that. So sorry, I guess we'll end it there. Thanks for watching, and you'll see me tomorrow.